KBVC, KBVC, KBVC. Hey, all you video collection viewers out there. This is the KBVC, and we are going to be talking about Doctor Who. If the title didn't fool you at all, the different title music. I need to deaden that light. Maybe that's really bright. Let's go like that. Whole time. As you may or may not know, I am a huge Doctor Who fan, have been since before the 20th anniversary, not too much before the 20th anniversary. So for the last 40 years, I have been a big fan of Doctor Who. And this year, 2023, is the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. It came out November 23rd, 1963. And I thought for a fun thing to do for the 60th anniversary is to each month go through a different doctor. If you aren't aware of the TV show Doctor Who, it's a British science fiction show and has lasted what it ran until 87, maybe. Let's see. I got old Sylvester here to just confirm that, possibly 1986. I'll have to double check that for later. I'm sure we'll talk about it when we get to there. So it ran from Unearthly Child to Survival, a very long 25, 26 year run continuously. Every week. No, you don't see some breaks. You know what I mean. Then took a huge break in the 90s had a little movie there, and then came back with a bang in the 2000s. And it's about a time traveling, space traveling gentleman named the Doctor who goes around and explores the universe and saves planets and civilizations, and sometimes, well, he doesn't save bases of people, really. Everybody dies, or the great majority of the people on the base die, but the world is saved. It doesn't get out past that base, right? That's another trope for a different season. For a different Doctor. And one of the ways they've been able to stay around for 60 years is this concept called regeneration, where the Doctor, if he gets stressed enough or hurt enough or whatever, stressed enough. Oh my gosh, this deadline is so stressful. Energized. No, it's not like that. He is to be able to change the actor, so you get a new actor every so often. And for the first run, I gotta bring up my files here, and that is not the file I was looking for. Doctor Who list. Anyway, so my plan is to watch a Doctor per month for the whole year. So this is January, the first month. I'll be watching a first Doctor story, or I'll be talking about the first Doctor, and I'll talk about one of his stories that I watched. So William Hartnell was the first actor to play the Doctor, and he went from 1963 to 1966, so he had 3 years as the Doctor. He did 29 stories and 134 episodes. 29 stories, right? Okay, 29 is right if you count the Mission to the Unknown episode, which didn't feature him or any of the regular cast at all. It was like a preview to the upcoming epic 12-parter, The Dalek Master Plan. I'm pretty sure they weren't in that at all. It's what we call a missing episode. For those of you who don't know, aren't aware, basically back in the 70s, I think, it was all recorded onto videotape. And back then it wasn't like, a cassette tape. I don't have a VHS tape to show you. It was like big real spools, and it was very expensive. If I'm remembering correctly, it wasn't in their mind for preservation. It just wasn't in their mind. They were just trying to get the next show out. So a lot of stuff you could on the VHS, you could just record over the tape. You could um, take a magnet actually and just wipe the information off of the tape, and then I believe you could record back onto it, or you could just record over it, which is how your parents recorded a football match over your favorite TV show when you were a kid. So there was a practice of doing that so they could save money, not thinking that, 20, 40, 60 years later, we could sell them on Blu-ray and make a ton of money off of them. Well, I don't know if it's a ton of money. I don't know how much they make off of them. But still, that there would be an interest period for that. When they sent it to foreign markets around the world, Doctor Who played around the world, here in America, Australia, and Africa, and Asia, and Europe, South America, maybe, probably South America. I don't know why I can't think of one country that they found there. Anyway, they did, I think, 16 millimeter film prints. And that is what people have found to fill in the spots. So there's these missing episodes that have been wiped from the video, but they had film reels out of them. And then they film reels, they're like, well, we don't need to keep these. Let's chuck them. So they threw them in the bin, the trash. And there were some people who were all like, hey, wait a minute, why are you throwing away all this film? And they took it, scuttled off down the road. Thank you, kind people. I can't remember. I think it's in Doctor Who: A Celebration, which was the 20th anniversary special book. Hopefully, by the time I get to Fifth Doctor, I'll dig that one out. They say how many episodes are missing, and that list has slowly gotten shorter. They keep finding some. They found some. It might have been like 5 years ago. They found a couple of episodes of the Second Doctor stories. I don't remember if that was. I mean, it might have been to 2016. It might have been later than that. Just because I'm thinking about when I watched them, where I was living at the time when I watched them, and I could be mistaken. But it doesn't really matter to you, does it? So William Hartnell originated the role, and he's more of the grandfatherly type, the doting professor who, is more interested in science than necessarily human emotions. He fancied himself an explorer and scientist more than anything else. He was visiting Earth in London, 1963. His time machine called the TARDIS, which, right, that blue box right there, which is based on a police telephone box. So basically, there used to be, before there was radios all over the place and cell phones and whatnot, they were phone lines, so the police could go in here and they could call the station if they needed to. There'd be supplies in there for them, and they'd also, if they needed to lock up somebody until the paddy wagon came, they could do that. Doing this all by memory, so hopefully I am accurate relatively. Anyway, so it gets stuck like that. So you have the blue box for the rest of the 60 years. He picks up, he sends his granddaughter. He's traveling with his granddaughter, Susan. Her teachers come snooping because they're like, wow, there's something wrong with this. The first episode, entitled An Unearthly Child, something wrong with this. They manage to get onto the TARDIS and it zips away, and you're on your adventures from time and space, because we find out that the Doctor isn't quite able to control the TARDIS, or it doesn't go where he wants it to, or maybe he doesn't really care where it goes at this point. He's just kind of traveling around. And the basic principle of the original story, of the original outline for the series, was it was supposed to be somewhat of as a kids show, a family show, also educational. So they do like one history show, one science fiction show, and then one other show. I think they had that was their three. You can tell I have three fingers there. Yes, there we go. They do a history one, and then a space one, so it was like time, space, other kind of thing, um, which they really didn't do the other very often. I can only think of Edge of Destruction and Planet of the Giants, but it was basically like you would go between the two pretty consistently until the later missions, and then you pick up new companions every other season or so, and it would just continued on that way for 60 years. That was the formula. Go anywhere, do anything, any place, meet anyone you wanted to, uh, within a budget. And a lot of this early stuff is in studio. There's some outdoor location shooting, but there's not a lot. It's all in studio. Very much shot early TV ways, like a play almost. People be there in the marks and everything. They had a 3 camera system, and then they had to block it because they had huge cables coming out of the cameras. So that's how it worked. So companions for the first Doctor was Susan, his granddaughter, and then her teachers, Ian Chesterton and Barbara Wright. Ian and Barbara, and then Susan leaves. We get I can't think of her name. She's even in the story that I'm talking about right now. Vicky, and then Steven shows up. Ian and Barbara manage to get back home. Then Vicky leaves. Dodo Chaplet shows up. Steven leaves. Dodo gets sick mid-story and leaves. Poor Dodo. Or Dorothea. And then you had Ben and Polly, who make it on to the second Doctor. The episode length per story was they didn't have a set amount. Like later on, it was like this is a 4-parter. This is when they were writing them, they were like, this is a 4-parter. We need 3 4-parters, 2 2-parters, or 1 or a couple 3-parters, or a 6-parter. I think is how they ended up doing it, probably by the third Doctor on. But anyway, with the first Doctor, they told the story however many episodes it took, and it actually up until past this Galaxy 4, which was pretty late, probably third season, his last season as well. Maybe not. Maybe he did one more season. How many did it say he did? 4. So there's a list right there of all the people. Polly didn't get a last name. Oh yeah, I forgot about Katrina. She's goes from one story to the next story, doesn't survive the next story. And Sarah Kingdom, who also doesn't survive the massive Dalek Master Plan. Season 1, 63 to 64, or series. They called them series in England, but oh well. Season 2, 64 to 65. Season 3, 65 to 66. Season 4 was just 66 with the smugglers. So season 4 really was just 2 stories. The smugglers and the 10th planet. Anyway, I don't remember if I said what I was saying. I think so. Where do I rate William Hartnell on my Doctor list? Not very high. He is not a bad Doctor. These stories are not bad stories. I enjoy watching them. I just like the other Doctors better. Yeah, whether that's because of the acting, because of the story, because of the character relationship between everybody. Unfortunately, William Hartnell ranks pretty low on my Doctor ranking. So right now, being the first one I've watched this year, he's number 1. But no, I'd say he's probably down there. I don't know if I'm going to go into the whole side Doctors, like the alternate Doctor and the War Doctor and 2 10th Doctors or whatever all that malarkey that went on later on. But yeah, he'd probably be around 13. Maybe 12 or 13. Maybe I'll do a end of the year list. Is it 14 now? I'm not caught up. But anyway, I'm not caught up on my watching. So I've got them, but I haven't watched them yet. Anyway, so I was gonna do my favorite story for each Doctor, but they're in storage still. I still have to dig them out, and I just recently gotten the Galaxy 4 Blu-ray. It had just come out last year, and so we just watched that. I just finished watching the extra features, so I was like, let's go ahead and let's just use this one. Even though I wouldn't say this is the best first Doctor episode, I would say out of the ones that are surviving, the Dalek invasion of Earth, I really enjoy. I kind of have a soft spot for the Web Planet. The Daleks is okay. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, I guess. Uh, let's see. Does it tell me how many are surviving? It does not, but that's okay. So a lot of these of his stories have been lost to time. Perhaps if I could see more of them, I would enjoy it. When I first fell in love with Doctor Who, I was watching it on the PBS station here in America, and they started showing the Fourth Doctor series. So we watched all the Fourth Doctors, and they didn't do them in episode format. It was what they call omnibus, I think. And so you got that going. And so we watched, Fourth Doctor, Fifth Doctor, and then eventually they got back to the first, second. It started fourth, and then fifth, third probably. Went fourth, third, fifth, I think, because the newer stuff we were about probably a year behind on the new stuff, but I feel like there was a push for them to actually have the Five Doctors, the 20th anniversary special during the 20th anniversary year. I could be wrong about that because I don't know when started watching Doctor Who, but it was sometime before 1983. It could have been, the beginning of the 80s, 81 or 82. My memory could be wrong about that, and they were just talking about, hey, this is the 20th anniversary special, and boom, there you go. But I feel like I knew. It's weird. Memory's weird because I feel like I watched All Creatures Great and Small, where Fifth Doctor Peter Davison was in beforehand. I don't know why I'm talking about this with the First Doctor. Anyway, on PBS, they eventually got around to showing First Doctor stories, the ones that they had available. For whatever reason, the Unearthly Child was not one of them. I don't even think the Daleks were one of them, though they might have been. So, but by the time those came out, we had a VCR, and I recorded them off of PBS. That's right. Somewhere I have a VHS tape with these old episodes on them, and they would be the ones I had on VHS were the Dalek invasion of Earth, the Romans, Web Planet, Time Meddler, the Gunfighters, and the War Machines. So those were the 6 episodes that I grew up watching of the First Doctor. So that's probably why those ones are in the favorite category. And the other ones I watched when they got released on DVD later. So one of the stories that got wiped was Galaxy 4. Luckily, there were fans, and even I did this when I was young, but I did it with, cassette tapes because it was 80s. You could, hook up a microphone next to a TV and record audio of the show. So you could listen to it back later, and help you visualize the images or whatever. And that's what some fans did with Doctor Who. Luckily they did, because now we've got so it had soundtracks that came out. And then back in the Early to well, no, the aughts, the late aughts, they started doing animated of the missing episodes. I think all of the episodes are on had sound. They found sound for all the episodes, so they started animating, and mostly it's been Second Doctor that they've been animating. I think this is actually the first Doctor animation that came out. I don't know why Galaxy 4 it did. It's not the best story. Basically, quick premise. Well, maybe I'll read the back and I'll tell you what it is. But there's the front, Galaxy 4. Doctor Who. The Doctor, William Hartnell, stars alongside his travel companions Vicky, Maureen O'Brien, and Stephen, Peter Purvis, in an adventure which sees the TARDIS landing on a planet on the verge of total annihilation as it drifts too close to the three suns which it orbits. Trapped on the planet with them are the Dravins, a race of warrior women, and the reptilian Rills. The Dravin want to steal the real spaceship to escape the planet's death throes and enlist the Doctor's help, which he is forced to give when Maga, the cunning Draven leader, keeps first Vicky, then later Stephen, as her hostage. Even though the Doctor is determined to broker a peace deal between the two sides in this conflict and help everyone escape safely, Maga doesn't trust him or the Rills. Three of the original 1965 master recordings of Galaxy 4 were lost soon after the program's original transmission. However, audio-only recordings have survived and have been used here to create a brand new, fully animated presentation of this lost classic. There's some examples of the animation that they're doing. And then there's the inside. You got basically there's two discs. One disc that has the story in color and one disc that has the story in black and white. The funny thing about this is they've got a misprint there. So it says disc 1, episodes 1 through 6, black and white. It's only 4 episodes. So it's 4 episodes black and white. And then it says disc 2, episodes 4 and 5 in color, and it's episodes 1 through 4. It's there. It was just a little misprint. I'm just kind of like, huh? I've always had a problem with the Doctor Who animation from the beginning. First of all, I'm not a fan of the style of that computer animation. That's just personal preference. I would rather have this than nothing. But there's two things that I'm a stickler for authenticity. So I keep every time they do something that varies from how I think it would have actually looked, it bugs me. Back when they first started doing it, I was a little more that's not how that would happen. And I'm a little less that nowadays. So you gotta accept the things you can't control. And two, part of me just kind of wishes they would actually do like Scooby-Doo animation, like if it was a 1960s animated TV show, instead of doing the computer animation. And I think what kind of bugs me about the computer animation is the need for them to always be doing something. It's like, that just bugs me for some reason. I just like people move and stuff, but when they're sitting there acting, if you watch them, they're not doing that if you watch the live action scenes. And then they make it, like for example, Galaxy 4, there is one episode, episode 3, that managed to survive. One thing I would have liked to have done if I had time, and 2 TVs I could have put next to each other or monitors or whatever, to have the video running at the same time as the animated running at the same time to see what the difference really was between them. Because, I mean, in my opinion, it should have just looked exactly the same. But it doesn't, because, the animators are doing their own thing. It's a version of it. It's they've got their justifications for it. So what do I think about this movie? So the main concept of this story is that the Dravens are beautiful women, but ugly inside, and the Rills are disgusting reptile monsters uh, that kind of they look like a hut with fangs to me, really. Or maybe that's just the inspiration they had for. I can't remember. There is a photo gallery in this, but I don't remember if they show a photo of a full size Rill or not. And then they've got the Rills use these little robots, the Chumblies, because of their Chumbly movement. I guess that's just what the writer decided to call them, and they're like, hey, this will rival the Daleks. We need another toy, so let's get these guys. And it didn't happen. So that's the whole concept: is that the beautiful women are really horribly ugly inside, and the ugly Rills are beautiful inside. And of course, we help the Rills escape, and the Dravens end up, instead of like saying, hey, can we go with you? They're like, we're gonna kill you and take your ship, and that spoilers backfires on them. They deviate quite a bit of what they've been able to do, I think, in 1964, 1965, just because they can't. They make it look a lot nicer. The color version is actually really nice. As you can imagine, an animated version of an alien planet looks better than what they could do in studio live action 1964. So that's kind of nice. I kind of like it better. And this version, I mean, a couple stories ago, I don't remember which one it was, one of the DVD releases, they did like a truncated Galaxy 4, which was like 45 minutes long, because there's a clip of episode 1 that's still surviving, and episode 3 still survives. And then there were people who also, somebody had a business of where they would take photos of the program off their TV, and then they would sell those photos to like the director or the production company or whoever wanted them, because back then that you had no way of holding on to what you had directed. You don't get a copy of it for your reel or whatever. It's all property of the BBC. And if you wanted like some kind of proof or documentation of your work, you could buy these stills from this gentleman. And so a lot of these stories, a lot of the missing stories, they have some, still frames from them, but he wouldn't do like every shot. He would do like every, whatever, so often, or if something like special seemed to be happening, kind of thing. So you can't really make a reconstruction with just the photos. They seem kind of boring if it's just the straight up telesnaps of what they do. Anyway, so we're going to talk about special features, or what this includes is episode 1 through 4 animated in black and white, and then animated in color. And it's I like to watch them in black and white because that's how it should have been seen, black and white. It's what was intended. But the color is also nice. The 13-year-old really likes watching them in color instead of black and white. It's got a remastered surviving original episode 3 and remastered surviving clip from episode 1, which I talked about. They look really nice. Anyway, and then there's a photographic reconstructions of episode 1, 2, and 4, which uses those telesnaps, the photographs from the TV screens, and maybe some others. One thing I never understood watching them before is like, why would they have other photos? Because you see these lovely photos in the photo gallery. There's a photo gallery on here also. You see these lovely photos, especially the background and stuff. There's Doctor Who magazine, which if you find some of the older ones, they have beautiful photos from there. Why don't they ever use those photos into the telesnap things? I'm assuming it's a rights issue, or they just didn't want to let the person doing it, almost always it seems like it's a fan uh, generated reconstruction. It comes from the heart. Anyway, audio commentaries on all episodes. Several, actually, audio commentaries. Some episodes have more than one audio commentaries. I didn't write down who they were. Sorry. A making of documentary. Finding Galaxy 4 documentary. Photo gallery. Production subtitles. And PDF ROM content, which I didn't check because I don't have a Blu-ray ROM. At the time of this recording. Let's see. Yeah, William Hartnell. Maureen O'Brien. Peter Purvis. Peter Purvis. I really liked Steven. I really liked Peter Purvis. I actually got to meet the actor in a Doctor Who convention once, and I think I was working security, and I think I accidentally annoyed him because he's all like, he came up to me and was asking where everybody, all the other talent was, and I was like, I have no clue. Not really the person to ask that. It's like, maybe go check where people are signing the autographs. That's the only other place I can, they're not there. They're not there. They're not in there in the green room. Then that's the only other place I could think of for him to go check. And then later, like, the guy who was running security came up to me and was like, "Did you tell one of the talent that they had to go sign autographs now or whatever?" I was like, "No, I don't." Well, first of all, I didn't remember the interaction. If I had talked to the missus, she would have said, "Oh yeah, you talked to Peter Purvis earlier." I would have been like, "Oh yeah, no, I was just saying that's where people might be. I didn't say he had to go there." So that's my one interaction with Peter Purvis. The only other First Doctor companion I ever met was William Russell, who played Ian Chesterton, and I rode an elevator with him and his wife. Significant other, anyway. I'm assuming married, but what do I know? And he was a lovely gent. They were both lovely gentlemen. And I just feel bad about that one interaction I had with Peter. Yeah, so that's it, I think, for this guy. I don't think we're going to do really in-depth episodes. Just talking about, is there anything else about the First Doctor I want to say? I guess I will say that they are releasing the First Doctor on Blu-ray. I'm going to have to look it up real quick here. Yes. All the Doctors everyone cares about. Yeah, so the First Doctor they're releasing, season 2. Sorry, all you British viewers. Season 2. And only one story from season 2 is missing episodes, and it's actually only missing 2 episodes, I guess. The Crusade with its 2 missing episodes, and they have episode reconstructions instead of animation. And that worries me that they're doing it in Blu-ray. They're gonna go ahead and bring it out on Blu-ray and not have the animation on there, because that sets precedent. And I think I feel like Doctor Who has gone down. Popularity is not as high as it was 5 years ago, or even 10 years ago when the 50th anniversary was. It was very, very popular, and I think popularity has dropped down in the last 10 years. Just because shows that last a long time, the people get, more interested in newer things and distracted by it. I will finish my thought on the new Blu-ray coming up. So it worries me that, because it would be nice if you're buying it on Blu-ray to have the best presentation that you're going to get, and that it's all there collected, so I don't have to go and if 4 or 5 years down the line they're like, okay, we're now putting out the Crusade in animated form, I gotta buy a separate DVD, a Blu-ray or whatever, 4K, hologram implant, whatever the next thing's going to be, and put, and have it there. It'd be nice if it's just all right there on the box set. That's a Fourth Doctor issue. I'll talk about that later. Okay, the only other problem I have as a DVD collector is this guy, they used the new logo for it, right? And I don't have one of the DVDs here to show you this month. Hopefully by the second Doctor, I'll have the other DVDs out of storage. But so my problem is that they use this. All the other DVDs they had, they did a really good job throughout the years because they started releasing the DVDs before the new series came out, and they kept that style, that branding throughout all the DVDs. So they're gonna sit there. They're all gonna look the same. And then they've released the new animated Blu-rays for the last since the 13th Doctor started, and they started doing that logo. They've been putting them on all of it on the animated ones, and so it doesn't match anymore. And so I need to go online, hopefully, and find if somebody has done a mock-up so that it actually all looks unified and fits. What? Am I complaining too much? Is that a nerdy, whiny collector thing? It's annoying. There's some of you out there who know what I'm talking about. You guys get it. Okay, so that's the first month, first Doctor done. Next month, second Doctor here for the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. Super excited. Hopefully every month, talking about a different Doctor. I'll see you in February for Patrick Troughton. This is what I used to call the wow moment, because sometimes when you're watching the omnibus, they do a music sting at the end of the episode because every episode ended in a cliffhanger to get you to watch next episode. So if it was in between the beginning and the end of the story, every episode would end with a cliffhanger like, come back, and it would have a stinger of the wow, 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 wow. And especially in the third Doctor, the sting would come in, wow, kind of thing, before the picture cut to black. So you would always have that sting, and then it would cut, and then it would be, whatever the resolution was from the next episode. But it was all together. So, so it's like, that's the wow moment. And we've reached our wow moment. What is the cliffhanger here? I don't know. Jack's going to do a dance for us? No. Be like, I've dropped the disc. No? Okay. Let's see. I forgot the code to storage. I'll never get the DVDs. Well. Okay.